Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Mashin Sentai Kiramager episode 39. So this was a pretty interesting episode with a pretty interesting format. You essentially have the Rangers being hunted throughout this episode by a new general personality called Sharon? It was Shanton or something like that. It was Shantytown. It was something like that. But basically the new villain guy is one of the new personalities of the Emperor Yodon, which, not to be confused with Emperor Udon, who just really loves noodles. But this kind of more clearly explained it to me because I wasn't sure what direction they were going with the Emperor, with like, okay, is he just like possessing Udana, or is she like another facet of him? And so basically he has multiple personalities, and the other personalities are effectively like different generals. So that's pretty interesting. I'll talk about that again in a minute. But he basically transforms into this sort of hunter general guy and is hunting down the Kiramagers throughout the episode. And some of them are out with Brawhead shopping for jewels, and like at one point she like shines the jewels up, and that's going to become important later. As soon as that happened, that scene where she shined the jewels up in the jewelry shop, I knew that it was going to become important later somehow in the episode, because they're trying to protect her throughout the whole episode as they're being hunted, and he's picking them off one by one, and when he shoots them, instead of killing them, that'd be too easy. They turned them into like mud balls, because then like supposedly you take the mud balls to the person you hired the contract for, basically so they couldn't kill people in Sentai. But they're being picked off one by one, and then like later Garza and a monster show up to further distract them, and Juru has to go in the mecha to distract them. Like at one point he manages to use the Shadow of Oridon to like attack some of the last Rangers standing. But then Brawhead uses her shine power to illuminate everything, which allows them to win the day and defeat him. So like that's how it ends up coming around. And so in addition to like just the Rangers being hunted and on the ropes by the Emperor, the sort of point of the episode was kind of a focus on her. Kind of one of those generic episodes, or not, I guess generic, but it's a trope that's been done before, where you have like a side character that's like, I'm useless trash, and then the Rangers are like, no you're not, and that's basically what the episode was about, because she was blaming herself because she thought she was the target, even though she wasn't, so that was the gist of that. But then at the end, the Rangers discover that the assassin guy was Yudon, and they discover how he works. So that was kind of the purpose of the episode, was development on her, but also for the Rangers to discover what's going on with Yudon a little bit. And I thought it was a very solid episode. I did definitely enjoy it. I really enjoyed the premise of sort of the hunt. I thought it made for a really interestingly structured episode and some really cool scenes and dynamics with it. I wasn't so much a fan of the Brawhead parts just because I'm not a huge fan of her character. Like, I don't hate her, she's just probably my least favorite character, and that story of like, you know, like I mentioned, the side character feeling insecure and then being reassured by the team is just something that's been done before. So like the fact that I already don't care about her character so much, and then it's kind of a generic story, I wasn't so much invested in that, but the general premise and setup of everything I thought was pretty entertaining and made for some good parts and some nice little moments with the characters. And I really did enjoy the concept, or the furthering of the concept of the Emperor's multiple personalities. I think that's really interesting, because as of this moment, the Emperor is just basically kind of one of those generic big bads you've had in Sentai, where there's kind of a big bad that all the big bads answer to, and then he just kind of shows up at the end and B's evil, and there's not usually a whole lot to him. And I think this facet of the multiple personalities makes him a little more interesting. I'm really hoping within the last 10 episodes or so we find out a little bit more about that. We might not, which I won't be totally mad over, but Kiramager's been pretty good about explaining its mythology, and I'd definitely be curious to learn a little more about it. But even if it's just this much, I think that kind of makes the Emperor a bit of a unique villain. And we did see that like one of his masks is destroyed when it happens, so I presume they have to destroy like all of his personas on their own in order to fully destroy him, and I presume that will come back as well. I kind of wish the assassin persona had lasted a little bit longer, because I thought he was pretty cool, but I think the whole point of this was for the Rangers to sort of catch on to what was going on, and it was a good way of progressing the plot. So yeah, overall, solid episode with a unique premise. I would give it a 7. What did you guys think of this week's Kiramager? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can see my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.